Dramatic B-roll definitely has a place in the YouTube tech community, but when it came to the Moto G4 Plus, I thought I would wave goodbye to dignity, strap a GoPro on my head, and actually show you guys how I reviewed the device. You wouldn't believe the dirty looks you get when you got a camera on your forehead, but wearing the GoPro did give me the opportunity to play some real-life Doom. Now, fair warning, you're gonna come with me on my about 4 days of testing. You'll see my family and see my house, and you cannot make fun of a little bit of a mess I got going on. I got 2 kids at home. Cue the intro.
What's up, everybody? Nathan here. Podcast no buckles here. I review of the Moto G Plus.
Full disclosure, usually when I review a device, I'll pop a SIM card in and use it as my daily driver, and I did that with the Moto G4 Plus, but the caveat here is Pokemon Go came out about a day or so before I started actually testing this phone, so like I would have done with any phone I was using, I mostly was chasing down Pokemon through the streets of Irvine, California. So that said, let's jump into the Moto G Plus. There is a regular non-Plus version as well that has a little bit of a spec downgrade in the camera and lack of fingerprint sensor. We'll have more information on that and a link down below if you want to check it out. For the 4th gen Moto G, Lenovo's brought Moto Maker here to the board. And I'm saying Lenovo because they purchased Motorola. A lot of questions asked about that in the comments. Available in 2 different versions, either 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of storage, or 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage for either $249 or $399 respectively. We've got the $399 version right here. With 4 gigs of RAM and the Snapdragon 617, I expect the performance to be pretty decent. After all, the 617 is the same processor in the HTC One A9. I really liked that phone. When it came to just speed and seeing things move smoothly, I was a little disappointed. But because I know you guys want benchmarks, or it just didn't happen, on Antutu 6.1.4, I got 47,186, and on Quadrant, I got 25,891. The 5.5-inch IPS LCD screen is 1080p, and it's a fine display, assuming you are indoors. As soon as you take this thing outside, you can almost barely see the screen, especially in direct sunlight. The Plus version here gives you a better camera. The rear-facing sensor is 60 megapixel with laser autofocus and an f2.0 aperture. Images were a little bit overexposed. There was some artifacting. It's a run-of-the-mill average camera, but it's by no means bad. It also shoots pretty decent 1080p video, I should say. Perfect for maybe stalking fire trucks with your 3-year-old. Also on board is a 5 megapixel camera with a wide angle lens. I really appreciate that for those selfies and videos that we just gotta take here.
The fire truck?
Yeah.
Was that pretty cool?
Yeah.
You got a hat and everything, gotta meet the fireman?
The Plus version is also going to give you a fingerprint sensor that looks like a depressible home button. It is not a depressible home button, but it does work pretty well. Expandable storage is also here, which is certainly a nice addition to have, but one odd omission for me is NFC. Lenovo's turbo power charging is on board. They say you're gonna get about 6 hours battery life in 15 minutes. That seems to be pretty accurate. This thing charged up extremely fast. And speaking about charging, it's got a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, which lasts for days and days and days. By the end of my day, which usually is around 11:30, I had about 35% battery life left. And as I mentioned, there was a lot of Pokemon Go happening with this phone, so battery life will not be a problem. Other additions from previous versions of Moto G, LTE is also here on board. I really liked the build quality on the Moto G Plus, actually. It feels really nice, not to say premium, but it feels like a nice phone. I didn't mind the soft textured back. It is removable. That's where your SIM card and micro SD card are going to live. There's still that little indent in the Motorola logo, that little dimple we've seen from previous Moto phones, so I like that there. Your finger naturally rests there. A lot of questions about the speakers on the phone. Lenovo tweaked the software on the speakers, and they sound fine. They don't sound great. Again, the theme of the phone, they sound pretty average. Software is where the company formerly known as Motorola really used to shine. They offered an almost stock Android experience with some really nice additions, and that's pretty much true here as well. Moto Actions is here, so do a little twist gesture and you can access the camera, do a chop gesture, you can get the flashlight, so you can get it just right. Definitely took some practice to get that working. I really like being able to see notifications at a glance on the lock screen. Really nice addition that Motorola and Lenovo have decided to keep on the phone. Other than those few small tweaks and some new widgets, it's pretty much stock Marshmallow, which is really nice to have. The original Moto G had a mission. It offered a really nice Android experience at a very entry-level price. Competing now in the $249 to $399 waters, Lenovo is entering an extremely crowded field. For that price point, you can often find last-gen flagships. That's a price point the OnePlus 3 is currently in. There's a lot of competition, and the value that was once there for the Moto G, I just don't see anymore. So what'd you guys think? Thank you for coming along with me to my house through my drives and kind of what I do to test phones. Hope you guys enjoyed the experience. If you like this style of video, let us know down below. We'll look to do more. Until next time, I am John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo. Talk to you guys in the next one.